Hello, everybody. Rick, the retired Texan, coming to you on my first video of any substance. Last week, I did my intro video, and just to kind of give you a feeling for what this channel is going to be all about, who I am, and all that kind of good stuff. And so this week is my first video of substance, you might say. And I've been thinking for a whole week. What am I going to make my first real video about? And I started thinking, maybe I need to do something really uplifting or funny or something lighthearted or my brain was just bouncing around all over the place about what I'm going to talk about in my first video. And I started thinking, you know what? Let's just kick this thing off with something extremely important, something that could be life changing for the folks out there. Because that's what I want to do this whole channel anyway. I want to help people if I can. Um, Lord knows I'm not going to get rich doing YouTube videos or anything. So I mean, my whole purpose for this is to try to help people. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about something that's very, very near and dear to me. Something that has been life changing for me. That might do the same for you. Let me start this off by saying I'm not a doctor. You can probably tell that by looking at me and listening to me. I'm not a doctor, so everything I'm about to talk about in this video, uh, you don't need to trust any of it. You need to go do your own research, and you need to talk to your doctor, and you need to figure out what's best for you. I'm just going to share an experience that I've had because I think there's a good chance that there's a bunch of you out there that are going to greatly benefit by this. If you got kids in the room, go ahead and send them out of the room, or I would. There is nothing about this video that's going to be appropriate for kids to be listening to. So you make that decision, but I'd send them out of the room. Let me also say that if there's any women out there listening to this video, please don't tune out too quickly. You might want to stick with me because um, what I'm going to talk about in this video might be very useful for one of the men in your life. So if you're female, don't check out on me too quick because I might be able to provide you with some information that you could pass on to your significant other, your husband, your boyfriend, your dad, your uncle, whoever. But you might be able to help somebody in their life um, by listening to this. All right. Is there a fountain of youth? Everybody's always heard that term, right? Fountain of youth. There's not really a fountain of youth, right? Wrong. There is a fountain of youth, and it's your hormones. Um, I'm going to tell you how you can make your life potentially much happier, healthier, more enjoyable. Um, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you about this fountain of youth that might be able to change life for you, because that's what it did for me. Now, listen, I've got a laptop here in my lap, and most of my videos are just going to be right straight from the heart. I don't like scripted stuff. I like it when just a good old down to earth, genuine person who's got some sense talks to me normal, without calculating every word and scripted and all that. We're all about sick of all that, I think. Um, but on this particular topic, I wanted to make dang sure that I didn't forget to tell you anything important. So I'm going to be looking down at my laptop here and making sure I don't forget anything. Um, for you retirees, let me just tell you something. Now, if you're not retired, don't tune out on me, but I'm talking just for a second here to the retirees. If all you're thinking about is your finances, getting your house paid for, and making sure you got enough nest egg, and calculating on when you should take your Social Security and all that kind of stuff, all that financial stuff that you think about when you're retiring or getting close to retiring or planning for retirement. That's all fine and good, and yes, you've got to do that. But let me tell you something that's more important than that is your health. You can get yourself to the point where you've got millions of dollars in the bank. But let me tell you something. If your health is not on if your health is not on the right track, that money, all that stuff is not going to mean anything to you. Money will not make you happy. Money makes a happy person happier. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think money makes a happy, healthy person have even more fun in life. But it ain't gonna. But if you're not happy, money won't do it. I promise. Might make you happy for a few days. Um, you got $10 million in the bank, and you find out you got cancer. That $10 million ain't gonna mean a damn thing to you anymore. So, one of the most important things about our living in our latter years is our health. And so let me tell you, let me give you some history. 3 or 4 years ago, um, I'm about to turn 63. 3 or 4 years ago, I started feeling just wrong. I just did not feel like myself anymore. Um, I was always fatigued. No matter how much sleep I got the night before, I was fatigued when I woke up the next morning. Um, I had a lack of inspiration. I just did not find any joy in things that used to make me happy. Um, you know, um, I started gaining weight. Um, I lost my libido. Um, Muscle just started. Uh, started noticing my arms were getting small, and muscle was just kind of going away, and that didn't make any sense to me. I've always been a reasonably muscular guy. I'm not a muscle. I'm not a big muscle dude or anything, but I've always had chunky muscles and stuff, and I just started noticing everything about me seemed to just be withering away, mentally and physically. And it was uh, it was to the point where, you know, I had to get to the doctor and try to figure out what was going on with me. So I went to the doctor. He started running all these labs on me and everything, and I already had done a little bit of googling and all that, and started thinking that I might have a hormone problem, a testosterone problem. I go get all these labs done at my family doctor. He runs there. He can't find anything wrong with me. And he actually tells me, "Hey man, as far as this testosterone thing you're worried about, you got more testosterone than guys half your age." My testosterone was over 800, my total testosterone. He's like, "It's definitely not testosterone. I don't see anything else wrong with you either, man." Um, so he offered me if I would like to, he was willing to give me a medicine for depression, Prozac or something like that, one of those SSRIs. And I told him, "Don't you even think about that, doc. That's not going to happen." Um, he said, "Well, maybe you need a little bit of thyroid support." But he said, "But your thyroid looks good." He said, I just don't see anything wrong with you, but I am willing to, keep it in mind after you leave here. If you decide you want uh, an SSRI, then contact the office and I'll write you a script." And I reassured him that wasn't going to happen. So anyway, um, I went back home, kind of at a loss about what to do. But I wasn't going to give up because I've always cared about my health, and I just wasn't going to accept it that what I needed was a depression pill. I wasn't going to accept that. I wanted to know, I wanted to get to the root of what the heck was wrong with me. And I still felt like in my heart, I still felt like it was a hormone problem, even though the doctor said my testosterone was off the charts, you know. So I started I started digging into this whole testosterone thing at a much deeper level, and I went to see one of the most highly respected male hormone doctors in the state of Texas, and he run more extensive labs on me that my regular family doctor didn't even know how to run, didn't know anything about. And he ran my free testosterone number, and my free testosterone number was almost zero. Now, keep in mind, my regular doctor had told me that my total testosterone was way over 800. This hormone doctor, this hormone specialist, not an endocrinologist, by the way, they don't know anything about all this stuff either. I know it's weird, but it's true. Um, this TRT doctor ran my free testosterone. It was very close to zero, and he said, "Rick, I'm surprised you can put one foot in front of the other. You have the kind of testosterone that would be reflective of somebody who's been castrated. You have none." And I'm like, well, why is my total testosterone so high? And he said, well, your SHBG is extremely high. And then he explained to me what SHBG is. It's a protein that's produced by your liver, and it's sex hormone binding globulin, and it's a binder and a carrier of your testosterone. So what SHBG does is it takes that testosterone that's in your blood and it latches onto it, and this SHBG carries your testosterone out to your cells. So this SHBG stuff is like a regulator and a carrier of your testosterone to your cells. And it converts what little bit that it carries out to your cells is called free testosterone, which is the most important testosterone number, your free testosterone. Remember, mine was almost zero. He said my SHBG was so high, my body was making so much SHBG that it's binding on to all of my testosterone and it's not releasing any of it. And I don't mean to get too technical with y'all, but it's important for you to understand this because it could happen to one of you where you go to your regular doctor and your regular doctor says you got plenty of testosterone. Well, that's only part of the story. You've got to know what your free testosterone is. And even if you've got really high total testosterone, your free testosterone can be very, very low if you have too much of this SHBG stuff in your system. That's what was happening to me. My free testosterone was basically zero. So that total testosterone number meant nothing because the only testosterone that actually makes it into your cells that can be utilized by your body is your free testosterone. So my this TRT specialist told me, so you know what we need to do is we need to get your total testosterone up high enough so that your SHBG can't bind all of it. You only need about 2% of your total testosterone to be freed up to make a dramatic difference in your health. Your free testosterone is the only testosterone that really is activated in your system. The rest of it just floats around in your blood. He said if we can get your free testosterone number up really, really, really high, it will overwhelm that SHBG and there'll be enough of it released in your system to do you a lot of good. Typically, the only testosterone in your system, there's only about 2% of your total testosterone in your system that ever makes it into your cells anyway, which is the most important. Like I said, the most important testosterone is your free testosterone. So basically, what happened was this doctor put me on testosterone replacement therapy, and he had to take my testosterone level up to double, almost double what the so-called lab suggested lab ranges are, and it ended up getting my free testosterone at a level where I started feeling good. I mean, I started feeling like my old self again. So basically, somewhere around 60 to 90 days, I just started feeling like Rick again. I mean, it was like, it was just my life was just all rushing back to me. Um, the old guy that used to be in me came back to life. And, things that used to make me happy started making me happy again. And, I started growing muscle again. I've always worked out. I've always worked out and all that kind of stuff. But I was getting no results from it there for a while, and now my muscle is just starting to come back. My arms are getting thick again, and my chest is getting firm again. Just, my body just woke up. It was just amazing what started happening to me. Um, uh, my weight started to just fall off. I mean, the fat just started going away. I didn't change how I eat or anything, but the fat just started to go away. It's like my metabolism just got turned on. It was amazing. It took 60 to 90 days for all this to start really kicking in. At first, I thought, well, this is not going to do me any good. And then somewhere between that 60 and 90 days, man, wow. It all just got good again. And mentally, I started feeling so much better. When you have a lack of testosterone, uh, you also have a lack of neurotransmitters. So if your testosterone gets down close to zero, then your dopamine and serotonin and all that just goes away. Your dopamine is your feel good hormone. Your dopamine is your goal oriented. Uh, I want to get up and go do something hormone. That's what dopamine does for you. Serotonin is your happy hormone, your chill out hormone, your feeling good about life hormone. And when you don't have those two hormones, and you won't have them if your testosterone's in the tank, um, man, mentally you're just out of it. Um, so when I think about this, when I think about how doctors are so ignorant to all of this, doctors get no training on all this, folks. They really don't. Your family doctor, they get no training on all this, and most of the endocrinologists are not properly trained on all this either. You have to go to a provider that specializes in male and female hormone therapy. Uh, Your family doctor is not going to know what they're, even if they're willing to try to treat you, they're not going to know what they're doing, and they're going to probably do it all wrong. So if you get to the point where you feel like you need to do this, you need to go to uh, someone who specializes in this, and this is what they do. Um, But it's really sad to me when I think about how many men out there and women whose doctor don't know how to do all this. They don't know how to run all the appropriate lab reports and everything to identify what might be wrong with you, and then they just assume you need a dadgum depression medication. There's no telling how many men and women who are on these SSRI depression medications and all the side effects that go with them, and all they really needed was to get their hormones on the right track. It's just really sad when you think about how that's happening all over the United States right now, all over the world right now. So, let me let me let me tell you about how it works because um, you know I've basically probably convinced you need to get serious about looking at your hormones, and then you may get to a point where you want to pull the trigger on all this, but you need more. I want to try to give you more information so you'll know what to expect. So, first of all, a good hormone uh, specialist uses the labs as a point of reference for how you feel. They don't let the labs dictate how to treat you. Okay? Um, Make sure you listen to that closely. A good hormone doctor will use the labs as a reference on how you're feeling, but they will not let the labs dictate how to activate your TRT protocol, because one person can be at this lab level and feel terrible when another person could be at that same lab level and feel like $1,000,000. Everybody's different, and those lab ranges are nothing but a point of reference. Anytime you look at those lab ranges and it says if you're anywhere in this lab range, you're fine. You do not need any treatment. Well, let me just tell you right now, if that's the way your doctor diagnoses what needs to be done with you from a hormone standpoint, your doctor don't know what they're doing. You need to run. You're about to get you're about to either not get any treatment that you need, or you're about to get treatment that's done wrong. Okay? Those labs are nothing but a recap of all the labs that they've been doing with all of these people across the universe. And there's a significant percentage of people out there who get labs done who are sick, who are very sick people, who negatively influence what those so called normal lab ranges are. So make sure you understand what I'm saying now. I hope I'm making it clear. A really good doctor knows how to properly use those labs, and don't let those labs totally dictate how to move forward with your treatment. Relieving you of your symptoms is what's important. So, a good doctor, like I said, is going to run your total testosterone, your free testosterone, your SHBG, and some other labs to determine whether or not you potentially have a problem. If it is determined that you do indeed need testosterone therapy, your options are going to be your viable options are going to be either injections or compounded cream. Okay, uh, testosterone injections or compounded cream. These injections are either going to be done once a week or maybe up to 2 or 3 times a week. You and your provider will work out the frequency best for you. But anytime, if you do go to a TRT provider and they tell you that you only need a couple of injections a month, you need to run. You're going to the wrong provider. You're going to somebody that don't know what they're doing. Because if you choose to go with injections, you're going to need at least one injection per week, and almost all TRT providers are going to recommend at least 2 injections per week to keep your testosterone levels at a good harmonious level. These outdated TRT providers that want to give you a big, gigantic injection of testosterone and then not give you any more for a couple of weeks. That is old, outdated protocols that nobody does anymore except the ones who are completely uninformed about what's going on these days. So if that happens to you, you need to run. You need to go to a doctor that will allow you to do your own injections. Don't go to one of these rip-off clinics that will prescribe for you testosterone injections, and have all these pre-filled syringes and all that they sell you, that they mark up ridiculously, and it costs you a fortune. You need to run from those too. There's a lot of crooks out there. This TRT thing is growing really fast, and there's a lot of good, reputable providers out there, and there's a bunch of crooks out there, and then there's a bunch of doctors out there that are well-meaning that just don't know what they're doing. So you need to do some research and find you a good quality provider so that this can be done. Correctly. If you don't want to do injections, then you can do compounded cream. Compounded cream is what I do. My doctor prescribes for me this cream that comes from a pharmacy up in Utah. It's an extremely strong, very bioavailable, absorbable cream that you apply to your scrotum, and you apply it every day. And your doctor may recommend that you apply it once a day or potentially twice a day. This cream comes in what's called a toppy click, and this basically a toppy click is just a little canister about this big. You take the top of it off; it's got a little hole in the top of it, and then the bottom you turn, and every time you turn it, it clicks and it pushes out a certain amount of cream each time you click, and then your doctor will prescribe for you a certain number of clicks per day. And like I said, you'll either apply it in the morning or the evening or both, and the frequency and the amount of clicks and all that will be worked out between you and your doctor based on your symptom relief. Uh, I use the Toppy Click twice a day, the AM and the PM. I use 2 clicks in the morning, 1 click in the evening, and I feel great. And some people don't want to do the cream because it's, you've got to apply it. You can't let your significant other touch you where that cream is for a few hours after it's applied, or there might be some carryover. Um, so some people don't want to mess with that, so they just go with the injections. I don't like needles. Both of these applications work extremely well. It's just a matter of which one is right for you personally. Um, so what's going to happen after you start taking testosterone? Uh, Everybody responds differently, but here's what you might deal with initially. Uh, when your testosterone goes up, your estrogen also goes up. That's how men get their estrogen. They get it from an aromatase conversion from testosterone to estrogen. So when you start shooting your testosterone up, your estrogen's going to come up. When your estrogen comes up, you're probably going to gain some water weight. Um, you might get some nipple sensitivity. Um, these things will pass after a while. Don't If it happens to you, don't freak out. Don't panic about it. Don't start worrying that your health is about to go down the tubes and there's something bad wrong, because basically your body is going to have to find homeostasis. So when you start pushing your testosterone up here, your estrogen is going to rise. It has to rise with it, because you need uh, a perfect ratio between the two, and it will take your body a little bit of time to regulate those two. If you go to a doctor that wants to give you an aromatase inhibitor, uh, otherwise known as an estrogen blocker, you need to run. You need to go to a different doctor. You do not need an estrogen blocker. If you run your testosterone up really high, then your estrogen needs to come up really high with it, because there needs to be a complementary amount of both. And your body knows how to regulate that properly, and it will only utilize the amount of, it will only take the amount of estrogen to your cells, and the amount of estrogen and the amount of testosterone to your cells that's appropriate for you. So, some doctor tries to sell you a prescription for an estrogen blocker, then that's an outdated protocol, and it's somebody who's either not up on the current uh, uh, modalities, or they're just trying to sell you another prescription. So you need to learn. You need to learn more about all this than I can take time to teach you about in this video. But I'm going to point you in the right direction before we're finished here, where you can learn more about all this. Um, let me let me tell you that th- testosterone therapy is not a experiment. Once you get to the point where it's obvious this is what you need to do, then you need to understand that this is a commitment, and um, this is not something you turn on and off. That's not the way all this works. You could just stop, but but you won't. When you realize how much better you feel, you'll probably keep doing it. Um, if you do stop, you need to understand that there's a negative feedback loop. So when you start bringing testosterone into your body from outside, your brain will tell your testicles to stop making it. And if you stop bringing it in from the outside, sometimes your testicles won't turn back on. So you don't want to take that chance. So I say, if you're going to go on testosterone therapy, you need to understand that this is basically a lifelong commitment. If you're a young person, if you're if you're 30 years old or younger, or 35 or younger, whatever that number is, then I would say all those things that you're doing in your life that you know you need to stop doing, you just need to stop doing it, and try to get your testosterone on the right track, from just from the standpoint of how you live your life and what you put in your body or don't put in your body that you should be putting in your body, etc. And just and forget about all this. But if you get to the point in your life where you're doing everything right, your testosterone numbers just won't get any better, and you decide to pull the trigger on this, uh, understand that this is a commitment, a lifelong commitment. If you still have it in your mind, if you're at the age where you still want to try to have children, you need to understand that there's a negative feedback loop here. So uh, your sperm count is going to go way, way down, more than likely, which could potentially be problematic for you uh, being able to have children. So, I would say most of us though who get on TRT are quite a bit older, and you're probably past that. So that's probably not a problem for you. But if you're younger and you need to go on TRT, there's also a medication they can add to your TRT protocol to help maintain your sperm count, and make it easier for you to have children. But this is a lifelong decision, basically. You need to understand that because there is a negative feedback loop, your brain is going to tell your testicles to stop making testosterone because there's plenty coming into your body from another source. When that happens, when your brain tells your testicles to stop producing, then your testicles are going to atrophy. So your testicles are going to shrink. most men say that once they go on testosterone therapy, their testicles shrink well below half the size that they were. Who cares, man? Don't. If that's something that bothers you, if what I'm telling you is something you need to do to improve the quality of your life, and you don't want to do it for that reason, then you need to screw your head on straight, because that's the wrong attitude about this. Nobody in your life, your significant other, or uh, your significant other does not care about that, and you need to get over it too. That's when it comes to whether or not you should pull the trigger on TRT. That's not what should stand in your way. That's not important. Trust me on this one. So don't even let that be part of your decision making process. Trust me. Uh, Let me tell you something that about this. Let me address a fear that you may have. I did so much exhaustive research on this from every highly recognized, respected source there is out there, and do not concern yourself. In my opinion, do not concern yourself with prostate cancer as far as TRT is concerned. Like I told you when I started this video, I'm not a doctor. Don't trust me on anything. Talk to your provider. But before I pulled the trigger on this, I did exhaustive research. Um, and all the research I did from all the reputable providers in this area of medicine will tell you about all these many studies that have been done for many years, that there's no correlation between testosterone replacement therapy and prostate cancer. It does not cause prostate cancer. There is no more prostate cancer with people who are on TRT than there are with people who are not on TRT. Okay, there's just no correlation there, and I wanted to make sure of that myself because it scared me. But um, you do your own research, and I think you'll arrive at the same conclusion I did, that really shouldn't be part of your concern. If really, this one doctor put it in a way that really resonated with me. If really high levels of testosterone caused prostate cancer, then how come there's not more 25-year-old men out there with prostate cancer? So that made sense to me. It might be too simplistic, but I'm a simple guy and it made sense to me. So I, I don't really know what else to tell you about this. I'm going to talk about this periodically on this channel over the years. I will revisit this topic occasionally to let you know how it's going with me and all that. But this changed my life. You need to, if you're where I was, and you don't know what's wrong with you, then maybe this will maybe this will rejuvenate your life. Uh, I hope this video does some good out there. I'm sorry it's such a long one, but it's a very important topic, and I hope I made sense in it, and hope I didn't bounce around too much. Hope I didn't confuse you. Um, um, but wow, it's it's really changed my life in the last 3 years almost. If you like this video, please subscribe, hit the like button. My understanding is if you hit the bell, then it will notify you when I put out my next video. And y'all can keep following me on this YouTube journey, and we'll see how it goes. If you want to learn more about this whole testosterone therapy thing, then I would highly recommend you go to a YouTube channel called TRT and Hormone Optimization. If you go to that channel, you will be very impressed at the amount of information that's there from highly respected, incredible sources from all over the world. And that YouTube channel right there uh, uh, influenced me to do what I needed to do to get my life back on the right track. And so you might go check that out as well. Thank y'all for sticking with me, and I'll see you next week.